you're their parent and they want to believe you above all things. And when the stories conflict, the information conflicts from birth to then they're 18, and then they ask, they have enough confidence or curiosity to say, that I've been told these things my whole life.
Right.
But they just don't seem right.
Mm-hmm.
Did you kidnap me?
Right.
What? Did I do what? Hell no.
Hashtag Mo Gently Talks. It's the clean theory. Clean spirit homes and lives when you feeling weary. The space is safe to purge and re-emerge. We hope you feel the urge on the verge to stay driven while looking at the lives of 3 dope black women. No topics forbidden, raw, bearing our souls. We got love for everybody, even some for you trolls. Talking life, lost love, how to get to the bag. The clean theory, Mo Gently Talks. It's the hashtag.
Hey y'all, welcome back. It's Jennifer. Welcome to the Clean Theory. Thank you so much for coming and rejoining us for our third part of this How to Be a Bonus Parent series. Again, my name is Jennifer.
And I'm Simone. How y'all doing out there? Welcome back.
And I'm Lee LaMilf. Thanks for joining us.
We started this podcast / YouTube channel in order to help people that may be starting. Specifically, this discussion is for people that may be starting their stepchild journey. And it can be a hard one. It can be a difficult one, not really knowing what you're getting into. And it's also for the people who have already established a relationship with a stepchild, or as we like to call them, bonus children. So we're just here to help you try to navigate through all these type of experiences. And if you guys have any questions that you may want to ask us in the future, or that you want us to talk about in future videos, leave it down in the comment box and we'll definitely address that. So first off, we're going to start with topic number 7 because we left off on topic number 6. And go back and see those other 2 videos. They will be linked in the description box as well. So topic number 7 will be the effects of a manipulative stepchild. How can that affect the family? How can that affect the household?
By nature, children are manipulative. Maybe not necessarily with malice, but children's nature is to manipulate any situation because they are in constant state of need. I need this, I need that, I want this, I want that. So, and because children don't have information, because children don't have access to things that adults have access to, right? They have access, but there's a layer they have to go through, and that's an adult. Right.
Right.
And so the very nature of children is to manipulate any situation because they want their needs met. When you're dealing with bonus children, it becomes a very layered situation because if you are the bonus parent, you have to be very careful about how you manage the manipulation tactics of a child who is not yours. Absolutely, it's very difficult to navigate that when it is your own biological child. But when when you're dealing with someone else's child, you have to always, like we said in the other 2 previous videos, you have to tether your steps very, very lightly. So I guess how to manage that is how you would manage your regular children, your biological children, times 100. Right? So any type of precaution you would take with your children, you have to times that by 100 because you have to be extra careful, right? Because sometimes we tend as bonus parents to not want to see the situation for what it is, not want to label the child negatively because they are your bonus child and your stepchild or whatever. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you feel some kind of way about, or at least I have felt some kind of way of just being like, oh, you trying to get over, or you trying to do this, or you trying to do that. Because the other people tend to look at you as like, oh, you being mean, you being the evil stepmother, or whatever the case may be. And those people do exist, right? But that's not necessarily the truth. 2 things could be true, right? Even if you are the evil step parent, that doesn't necessarily mean that this child isn't also being manipulative. So I always tread lightly because you know, it just adds a lot of level of drama when you're dealing with someone else's children.
So I definitely think a measured approach is what I would call it. When you said your tethered steps, I was like, yeah, that's ideal, right? Measured approach is kind of what and how I address what I see as potential manipulation. But again, as the bonus parent, and to some degree, right, you are 2 degrees removed, right? And where you could see the two parents, the 2 biological parents being puppeted, you're only at liberty to speak about in my case, you're only at liberty to talk about the puppeteering and that's happening to your significant, right?
Right.
I can't call and be like, this is happening to you too, right? And we have a kindred discussion about how to address it. That would be nice. That's ideal. It's just not realistic in my situation. But therein lies where you also have to take into consideration the significance of you bringing it to light versus allowing the biological parent to see it for themselves. So I have learned over the last 15 years to take a measured approach in an attempt to allow my husband to see things for himself, because exactly what you just described could happen or has happened, where it appears that, you know, there may be some negative connotations behind me bringing something to light. And again, I'm the bonus parent. I'm the fun person. I'm the person you come to when you need advice about something that you don't get from your parents, right? I'm the person that's always going to be there for you and give you sound advice, whether you like it or not. I'm the person that loves you, even though no one says I have to. Right. So in those situations, I try to have a measured approach. But when a situation, you know, we've already talked about my temperament, and there is some times where a measured approach just won't work, because there are degrees to a measured approach. And in my household, if I've had enough, I've had enough. And I'm just going to be like, this is what it is. And I'm willing to be the, you know, Cinderella's mom and let the chips fall where they may, because most of the time I'm right.
Amen.
I think it's hard to kind of contain a child that may have some manipulative tendencies. I think your best bet is to understand that it exists. Understand that both households are getting played. And try not to be too surprised about it. Like Simone said, all kids are definitely manipulative. Undercover control freaks, for real. Will do anything possible to get their way. I do think one thing that you have to understand is that if a child comes to you, this is pretty big. This was big in my situation, and I'm sure in others. If a child comes to you telling all of their biological parents' business, please know that that child is also telling all of your business to the parent as well. Don't think y'all are best friends.
No, absolutely not.
Don't think you're best friends. And we're going to talk about getting your feelings hurt and preparing for that. So it's kind of hard to kind of reconcile the two. You want to give everything to the child. You want to bring the child into your home and treat this child as your own. But it's kind of like you got a little spy in your house.
Yeah.
It's like you have a spy in your house and the kid can just, you know, tell all your business. But you don't want the kid to feel uncomfortable. If you're discussing something and you don't discuss it around that child, but you discuss it around the biological kids, of course, that will alienate the child and, you know, lead to a whole nother host of emotions that you don't want anything to do with. And you don't want to be the cause of those negative type of emotions. So I think the best thing to do is just be aware that that type of child exists. and to just prepare for it the best you can.
Before you move on, let me ask you this. What is your opinion about acknowledging that? Like, we acknowledge it here, but do you suggest to our viewers that they acknowledge it with their spouse and the children? Like, I know you manipulative.
I think it depends on the spouse. I think it depends on the severity of the situation. Sometimes you got to pick your battles, right? Sometimes, is it worth it? Because when you say something to your spouse about their child, right? I don't care who you are.
Right.
Oh, I'm not unreasonable. I see my child for what they are, blah, blah, blah. Right? Don't people feel guarded about their own children. Amen. And I totally get that, right? You can't tell me nothing about my kid. But you, in another conversation, be like, oh, tell me, I'm not that type of parent.
Yes, you are.
So everybody's that type of parent. Yes, and I totally understand that, right? So I think that it's just worth it for you to, because you are the bonus parent, you have a vantage point that allows you, if you are smart and if you are willing to be open, to look at everything like the way a quarterback looks at the field. Like, you have to be able to see everything, every play. You get what I'm saying? And since you have that vantage point, you are able to figure out, is it worth it to say something about this particular situation? Because this situation, although I don't necessarily like it, it might be something that is happening in a vacuum right now, and it might not be something that's going to continue to happen over time. And then it might be a situation where it's like, you're able to see how this is going to affect the household in the long run, and you need to talk about it right now. So you got to pick your spots.
Okay, topic number 8 is, should you contribute financially to this child? How much? Well, we'll talk about the details of how much, but most importantly, should you?
Wow, that's I think so. Thinking through that, I think once you get married, you feel compelled to a certain degree to contribute to every facet of your bonus child's life. I just always, and again, everyone in my family had kids that are my age. They had kids before me. And so I remember seeing instances where that was happening to kids that were in my family. And I would be like, don't let that bother you. Here, auntie just slap 100 on you. Here. And like, she got her those. Well, here, I'm going to get you these. You want she got the Snoop, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get you the Versace. Like, here you go. Like, here to go to Medusa belt. But I think, because I was a bonus parent before I was a biological parent, I've always just done stuff financially, right? Like, always was like, there would have been situations where, I was like, I don't like this coat, and I would just go buy it, right? Christmas is the same thing. I've always thought in things of parity, right? If my son gets 20 things, you get 20 things. Right? It's just, I just believe in parity, because again, I have half sisters, if you will, right? And I've seen this, and I just know that kids always will pick out. I don't want to feel like someone else is loved or gets more attention than the other person, because I know what it has felt like for me, right? But here's the thing. As children get older, their needs get more and more significant. And that balance can sometimes shift. And I think, to some degree, it is our responsibility as, bonus parents to, again, be forthcoming in the same ways we would be with our biological children. But then therein lies these little nuances or biases that you have in yourselves, like I know I have in me, that if it doesn't quite go exactly the way that I think it should be going, I will pull back. Because I don't like for my money to be wasted, not by anybody. And so I rationalize those things in my head by saying, oh, I would do that to him the same way I'm doing that to her. I'm going to do it to him. So it's okay. You see what I'm saying? Like, let's say a large purchase. Like, I want to be able at some point when my children become adults, I don't want them to have to rent. I want them to be able to purchase a home right out the gate. Like, boom. I actually don't want them to have to finance it either, right? I want to just have them be in a property and be okay and be able to be like, I'm not having to work to get my check and then have to pay it out. Like, I want them to, leave work, get a check and be like, this is all my money except the part that Uncle Sam and Social Security took, right? That's a feeling I've never had because I've always owed somebody. But I'm going to do it for both of them, long as they meet my criteria. I apply the same pressure on both kids. On education, but again, it lies when the kid does not live with you all the time, they don't see it. They just see the reward that comes from you doing achieving the goals or the standards that I've set.
I don't have any experiences like as far as like with my biological children or whatever, because I don't have any biological children. However, I've always of the mindset that if you choose this life, because it is a choice, to be a bonus parent, whether you're married or not. I am not married, but I have assumed the role. Because some people feel like, well, you're not married, you ain't got to do nothing for them kids, Simone. That is a lie, right? That is, yes, technically I don't have to, but even if you marry, you don't have to.
Right.
You have the choice. You have the option of being like, I'm not doing that. Whether or not your significant other is going to look at you like you're an evil person, that is, that is whatever. But if you choose this life and you choose this person who has these children, then you're choosing the role of being a parent, right? Yes, there's a step in between there. Yes, you're a bonus, but you're going to do for these children, and you're going to do for these children as much as you feel like your finances will allow. And even with your biological children, I'm sure there are people who do things for their biological children that leaves them temporarily strapped for cash. I'm not saying like, oh, we about to get evicted, but like, oh, we're not going to be able to go to the da-da-da-da this weekend because this one needed XYZ this week, right? So we all put ourselves in those positions for our children, regardless if they're bonus children or not. But should you contribute financially? Yes. Like, I don't understand people who make that decision to never do for their bonus kids.
I think that all three of us are the minority, and I didn't realize it until I talked to other people that I work with. When I would let them know what I was doing for my bonus child. What? You did that? What? How much?
Right. It's always how much,
and it's always like shit. That's the most popular response, and talking, amongst us is normal. It's normal to just, shell out cash, whatever our husband, our spouses need. We supplement it, or we just pay for that. They pay for this, or we go half, or we supplement. They supplement. That's how it's been done in my household, and that's how it's been done in your households. We definitely give. Along with money is attached emotion.
Yes.
Yeah. Along with money is attached emotion.
Right.
So that also has to do with what has been threaded throughout this series, getting your feelings hurt. If you are putting out thousands of dollars and this child turns around and gives you the ass to kiss, that can become problematic. That can cause resentment. That can cause walls to start being built.
Brick walls.
Yeah, definitely brick and mortars. So what do you do? Again, you have to find a balance. You are going to get your feelings hurt.
At some point.
We have all, our stepkids, our bonus children have brought us to tears.
Pick me up off the floor.
Okay, on many occasions. And that just comes with it. When I walked down the aisle and made a vow to my husband, my bonus child was right there, right next to us, and I wrote what I was, my vow to her, my commitment to her. I said it in front of everybody, said it in front of my parents, said it in front of her. Most importantly, she was only like 7 years old at the time. And I meant it.
Mm-hmm.
I meant it. You are going to get my support throughout. You have given me your ass to kiss throughout. But you will constantly get my support. I will make sure you are good. It's just like I made sure, making sure all of my biological kids are good. You are going to get everything they're going to get. Even if you play me, I'm still going to give you what you need. Why? Because I want to set you up for success. Yes. I don't want to ever feel like, I'm neglecting you or leave you out there flailing or leave you out there, to fall. I made a commitment to see you through, and that's what I'm going to do no matter what. And I think we've done pretty good, man.
Mm-hmm. Up top.
I think we've done pretty I think we've all done pretty good. I mean, it's a heavy weight to carry, and we doing our thing.
And just roll with it. We have sessions. We call. We talk. We eat dinner. We drink. We cry, and then you live to see another day.
Mm-hmm. That segues into topic number 9. Just be prepared to get your feelings hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Be prepared. I think a lot of I was blindsided because I made a new friend.
Mm-hmm.
I made a new friend, and when my friend was being this may sound crazy if you're not in it, but you make a new friend with these kids. They become your friend. They become your life. And when they don't treat you like you feel like you should be treated, it's devastating.
Yeah.
So, but I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
I thought it was going to be, we chill out, do our hair, do our nails, all that. Because I just went in it, wanted to make sure that she was covered. Just wanted to make sure we're straight. And all my intentions towards her were just pure and just positive. Mm-hmm. And so when I didn't get that back in return, I got, my mother said, and I got, you're not even, my real mother with a V. I was just like, well, I understand that.
Mm-hmm. Love you too.
I understand that.
Check.
But you're in my house, so you have to. And I was talking to her just like this. I said, but when you're here, you have to be nice. Mm-hmm. You can't just, be mean to me when you're here.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. We have to have a relationship. I'm your friend. Mm-hmm. No matter what anybody is telling you. And she had a lot of bodies telling her, negative things about me. And that's fine, because as she got older, you see the real. You see things for yourself. Mm-hmm. And, that took a minute, but it's always, validating when that happens, because especially if you don't trash the other parent. Don't trash that baby's biological parent in front of them. Don't do it. Don't do it. It just makes you look bad. Mm-hmm. And nothing positive comes from it. That child has allegiance to their biological parent that's outside of the household. So you're just going to be looking silly. Mm-hmm. You're going to be looking silly when you do that. It's just wasted energy that you can be putting that energy into something positive, something productive.
I definitely think it's a waste for either parent, the parent outside of the household, the parent inside of the household with the child, to trash either one of them. Like, it in turn messes with the child's head, right? Like, they don't know you're their parent, and they want to believe you above all things. And when the stories conflict, the information conflicts from birth to then they're 18, and then they ask, they have enough confidence or curiosity to say, that I've been told these things my whole life.
Right.
But they just don't seem right. Mm-hmm. Did you kidnap me?
Right.
What? Did I do what?
Right.
Hell no.
Right.
Let me tell you what happened. Let's make some hot cocoa. Let me tell you my side.
And let's have a discussion.
Okay, let's talk about the truth. Mm-hmm. There's my side. There's what you've been told all your life. Mm-hmm. And then there's the truth. My side always comes with paperwork, because I keep pieces of paper.
Yeah. Your daddy.
Hey, Dad, do you want to read this stuff? Come on in. We have curiosity. Mm-hmm. We haven't talked about this in 18 years. Maybe we should pull out all the papers. If you really want to know, You don't have to actually hear from us. You could hear from the papers. And then what happens is there's awakening. Oh my God, my parent has been lying to me. I'm sorry I was treating you like shit, bonus mom. You didn't have to put up with that. No, I love you too.
It takes a while. It takes a while, and
it does.
And in my situation, it surprised me how long it took. We were just having a regular conversation, and we were in the store together, and she told me that she was way up in her teens before she realized that her father was a cool dude. Which kind of, took me aback because you would think that, the evidence is here. Even though we were both silent, her father and I were silent on our end, we thought that if we just put the positive energy and the evidence out there that she would be able to see it. But because of, the love that she has for her mom and how she trusts in everything her mom says, which she should.
It's the natural thing.
And also other family members, many family members telling her that me and her father, wasn't shit. That's what she believed, even though she would come over to us and, feel comfort and have all that support and have everything that she needed. But still, the people that, she loves tremendously, told her that we ain't shit. So that's what she went with.
I think what's important to remember, and it's difficult because your feelings are involved, right? It's hard to be the logical person and see everything for what it is, and to have compassion, and to have knowledge of forethought, and to have all of these intellectual components competing with how you feel, right? The biggest thing about children is that their minds are underdeveloped, right? So even though we have moments where we're like, the proof is right fucking there, right? They're still children. And they're going from one situation to another situation that are like this. It's confusing, it's conflicting. And when you're young, even when you old, you be confused about something that looks like this over here, and then you go over here, and then you like, wait, how many times you go over to his house, then you like, but he loved me. But everybody is telling you he's trash, and you a grown adult.
He made me frosted flakes.
Right. So then how do we expect children to be able to filter that type of information? Because that's all it is information, right? Before your thoughts become your feelings, it's information. And when you have a bonus child that's going from your house to back to the biological parent's house, back to your house, back to the biological parent's house, whatever the level of frequency or infrequency it is, they're coming to your house with the information that they carried from that house. And then they're going back to that house with the information that they carried from this house. Then you have a romanticized relationship with both parents, right? The way they see both sides, both families, the father and the bonus mom, and then the mom. It doesn't matter. You don't even have to say anything about either side. They have their own level of romanticizing about their relationships in their head, because while they're at your house, they're romanticizing about the parents' house that they're not at. And it's all of this conflicting information. And so it's hard for you to be like, this is a child, this is a child, this is a child, when you're feeling like trash.
Right.
Because they've done something, or they've said something, compounded sometimes with the drama that you might have gotten from the biological parent. And so now you have to filter all of this information, but you have no choice because you're the adult. You have access to therapy, you have access to friends, you have access to all of this information, and you're supposed to be able to, you know what I'm saying? And it's hard, and you're not going to be successful. Y'all going to fail, right? You're going to have moments where that day beat your ass, right? This situation with your bonus child whipped your ass and you lost today. Hopefully you have a great support system where you are going to be able to have that moment, and then tomorrow you get to try it again.
If they're going back and forth to different households, you also have to factor in that deprogramming period of time when they first get back to your house and they're going by the rules of the house that they just came from.
That's true.
And you also have to deal with the mentality that their mentality of, oh, well, she's just your stepmother. She ain't your real mother. So how do you deal with the just title?
You know, the first instance that occurred hit me real hard, right? Because I was going to the school, which is always a challenge in itself, but let's save that for another episode. Going to the school, being a good stepmom, bonus parent, right? Go in, ask for the child. All the kids. Oh my gosh, is that your mother? I ain't never seen her before. She's so pretty. Hi. Hey, girl. Hi, you pretty too. I like your shoes. Da-da-da. All that, right? Because back then I was, oh my God. I had weaved down my back. I'm like, heels. It was like I came in there. I must have looked like a video vixen or something, right? And I think that amount of attention on me had never happened to someone retrieving, coming to the school. And
you mean it never happened to a mother picking her up?
Yeah, anybody must not have, because it was like, oh, that's just my stepmother. And I was like,
right, because she was probably unconsciously
I was
trying to protect her mom.
Yeah,
because that's what it was for her.
Yeah.
It wasn't that you weren't important, but it felt like they were trying to downgrade her mom.
That's what that's
not
like,
what happened.
Dang.
But that's how she processed that information.
But that's what she hit him with, and they was like, oh, okay. But they still, and it was like, it messed with her. I could tell, like, she was tight after that. And I was like, well, I don't know what happened. But
yeah, because you're not downplaying your personality.
I couldn't. I was just like,
you're not doing that for nobody.
Not LaMilf.
Yeah.
Not LaMilf.
There it is.
How do you feel being unjust?
That happened to me one time. And it was a big moment because we was in court. And I never had those type of experiences like you guys have had. And so for it to have been on such a magnanimous stage, I didn't realize how it affected me until after, because you're in court. So you're dealing with the legal stuff, and then there's bailiffs, and then there's security, and then there's police. And, I think I was grateful for the fact that I was oblivious to what was said, because when I processed it later, and it was like, oh, something, he, moving to, Maryland to go be with some woman. I'm not some woman. And then on top of it, it was like, we just had a conversation where you was thanking me for taking in your 6 kids. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, of course, there was a, obviously an added layer of things and, specific things that happened that got us to the court situation. And so there was a extra layer of emotions that went into it. So both things, I always say both things could be true, right? So it was true for her that I was this wonderful person, and she was grateful for me for accepting her children. But she also felt like, because of what the court situation was about, that I wasn't nothing but some woman, right? For 2 reasons. Number 1, I'm not their mama. And number 2, he wasn't my husband. He's not my husband. And there was an added layer of that type of like belittling. You know what I'm saying? So I was fortunate enough that didn't happen in front of the children, right? So I haven't experienced them ever saying that around me. Like, oh, you just this, or oh, you just that. And so I don't have that experience, but that particular experience with, their biological mom, it hurt me real bad.
I've had a child, not my stepchild, but a family member who was a child, a younger child at the time, say to her, oh, why? And she called me mommy something. Why are you calling her mommy? That's not your mother. You you don't gotta listen to her. A child said this to her. You don't gotta listen to her. Why you going to mommy? That's not your mother. You don't gotta listen to her. I've had doctors, you know, when I took her to the doctor's office, gladly take my copay.
Right.
Yes.
And gladly take the money that I needed to pay for health certificates.
All of the things.
All of that. Gladly. Took the card, smiled at me and everything. But when it was time for me to ask a question that might have been a little difficult, I got a pause. And, oh, you just a stepmother. This is from a professional who I respected. And, you know, back to getting your feelings hurt. First, you know, I was, you know, I was shocked that the doctor said this to me because we had a really good rapport. She understood the situation. She understood the dynamic of our family. And for her to say that to me, maybe she was having a bad day. Either way, I wasn't going to take her back to that doctor, and I wasn't going to pay the copay for that doctor. Of course, I've had, you know, her mom and her mom's family say, she ain't your mother, that's just your stepmother. And I really think that is fine. That is fine as you feel that way. But I want you to stay there when it comes to bills, when it comes to tuition.
Yes, Lord.
When it comes to cars.
Yes, Lord.
I want you to stay there.
Stay there. Stay right there.
I'm just that bitch
with nuts and bolts.
I ain't the bitch. I'm not the mom. I'm just some chick. Okay. Well, I'm gonna keep this just wallet in my fucking purse. Like what are you doing? We are offering major help. You taking that help.
Right.
But when you get a wild hair up your ass.
Which is often. Which was often.
Bitch, I mean, that's just she ain't your mother. So biological moms out there, if you have a problem with the stepmother, fine, have a problem with the stepmother. Pick your spots.
It's mother.
Don't be wishy-washy. If you don't want this chick to have nothing to do with your kid, make sure you got the dough to back it up.
Yeah.
The time to back it up.
Yeah.
The effort to back it up. And that's all I have to say about that. We can go ahead and move on now.
Real quick, I was in a situation from the opposite side. Like my stepmother, I remember there was a big, horrible situation, and my aunt had called and was like, "Is your mom home? Is she there?" It was like sometime in the morning. I was like, "I don't know." She was like, "Go look," and I saw she was passed out on the couch. And basically, it was like, I don't understand, saying to her, like, I don't understand why my sister keeps putting her in these situations. Y'all not even her kids.
That's sweet, right?
Not even going to get emotional about that.
That's sweet. That's a sweet thing to say to somebody.
So, be careful what comes out your mouth.
Yeah.
To these children. And I was a full adult when that happened. So, it's fun.
We take on immense responsibility with these kids because we made a commitment to, in our case, their fathers. Do you think that our families should take on that same type of responsibility? Do you think that they should love the child like we love the child?
I think that, okay, so I don't know if they should love them because that's a difficult task to ask someone to do, right?
Right.
People love and are emotionally tethered and affected to who they choose.
You can't force that, right?
You cannot force that. However, when I'm in your home or when you're in my home and my bonus child is around, you treat them with kindness and respect. I'm not saying you have to love them, but don't treat them like, oh, those are not your kids. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's right.
If you love me, then on some level, you have to love what I love. I'm not saying you have to be emotionally invested the way love makes you. But if you care about me, then you care about the things that I care about, to include the people. Now, if you don't like this dynamic, then you don't have to be a part of this dynamic ever.
There it is.
Right? And so from my side, as being a stepchild, that is what I wished. Seeing that, right, put me in the position as a bonus mom now. I mean, I've never had that issue, But you best believe if anybody ever made any of my bonus children feel like less than, you don't have to be here.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah. So I agree with your assertion, like my family has to love my children, both of them, period, whether I birthed them or not. However, thinking back on my life, right? Like I think about it like back on my life. My sisters, I'm telling you, they don't feel this, they didn't have a bond with my mom growing up. They just did not have it. But they still know all of my other siblings. You see what I'm saying? Like they were a part of my family. They love all my nieces. They know all the names. I know all of their cousins and all of that because like my sisters come from a huge family. And they got like mad love. And the fact that they always like, I always felt welcomed in their family stuff. Like it'd be like 60 kids and they would be like, go get your little sister. And I would go, right? But again, they didn't have to have a real bond with my mom. Like it wasn't like oh, I'm going over there, I'm gonna see Jean. It wasn't. They just wanted to be with my dad. In her eyes, she'd say, when I asked her about it, she'd be like, they didn't want me, they ain't invite me to that. They just wanted their daddy. And that was okay for me.
Right.
And I get that, right? I respect my mom's perspective on it. But it morphed me into the stepmom, bonus mom that I wanted to be. And so when I chose my daughter, it was not it was just implied. I know so because once all the issues started happening with court, it was like my mom was like dialed in. What's going on? Because I go over there and smack the shit out of that bitch. And I'm 68. Like it was just like that. Like as if she was actually my kid, right? We got all these things we had to do. She was like, well, I'm going to go there. You need a statement from me because I can say this and I know this and I da-da-da-da. And she's like in true grandma form. Oh, okay. Well, the before and after care don't open up, I'm going to take her to school for 2 weeks till it open. Like, that was like, you in. Like, my sister was like, oh, okay. Well, y'all do this every other weekend. Well, on, some days, can she come with me? And me and, my kid, we going to do da-da-da-da because I'm her aunt. It was just like that.
And that's
like,
a blessing because that don't happen all the time.
I want to say, sorry, to those who don't have that support system because, I feel for you. We've all had it. And it's wonderful when you go to your people's house and your bonus child is embraced. I have been, blessed to have a family that has embraced my bonus child, and I want to give a special shout out to Pop. Big L has definitely supported her throughout. Asking when her birthday is to make sure that he doesn't forget. When she graduates, all that good stuff. And I just make sure that if my aunts, send her something, my father sends her something, anybody, all I ask is that she call them and say thank you. No text. Get on the phone, say what's up. You'll make their day. Young people out there, if you have older people in your life, just say hi. Call them. Say hi. 5-minute conversation. I promise you, you just made that whole month. So just get on the telephone. I just need her. I want her to get on the telephone and say thank you. And she does. And that's all I ask. But my family is very supportive. See, we almost out of time. We have 5 more minutes. So I wanted to touch on court appearances real quick because we talked about it throughout the series. And
we've all been to court.
I never went to court, and that was on purpose. And this is what I'm getting to. If the relationship between, I'll speak from my experience. The relationship between my husband and his ex-wife was combative. And we didn't want to ruffle any more feathers. We didn't want to rock the boat more than it has already been rocked. So what he did is took his mom. she was cool with his mom. She doesn't have a problem with his mom. So, and sometimes it was progression in court, and sometimes there wasn't. But I can tell you, had I been there, there would never be any positive progression. There would never be anything positive to come out of those court appearances. So I say support from afar and let a neutral person, if they need to be accompanied by anyone for support, let a neutral party go in your place. And as soon as they get out of court, you know, you'll be right on the phone with them and lend your support that way. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if I could do it over again, I probably would have.
You would have
stayed my ass at home.
What?
I don't think that I had very volatile experiences, but because this was a new territory for me, the small little moments. Well, there was one moment, and y'all know it. It was huge. It was humongous, and it took me a very, very long time to get over. And I don't think that I did anything wrong, but it had a very negative impact. And so, of course, I wanted to support him. Just also knowing your spouse and the type of person that they are, he needed support, right? But he should have had his mom or one of his aunts or something like that. To the women out there who are bonus moms, I can't speak for the bonus fathers, but I can only speak because I'm a woman. You have to be very conscious of what your intentions are, right? Sometimes the intentions are to show up the biological parent. Sometimes the intention is not just to show them up like physically, but just to cause friction.
Oh my God.
And it's real, right? And it also depends on, that comes from whatever happened prior to the court date.
To get you there.
Right. However, when you are serving yourself, when your intentions are self-serving, and I'm not saying your intentions were self-serving, but sometimes when your intentions are, not sometimes, anytime your intentions are self-serving, it will always, 100% of the time, become disastrous. Might not be disastrous in that moment, but especially when you're dealing with children, if you're trying to serve your own interests and not what's best for everybody in the situation, you're going to have a problem.
Real quick. Our court thing not necessarily started with custody. It started with an attempt to be back in a relationship with a false allegation of violence. And so when that started, I was like, is this real? People be faking shit like this to get attention? And then call you 2 hours later and be like, take me to the grocery store? Did you just tell the police that you were threatened and you are afraid? And then get to court, drop everything, and then call and be like, can you take me to the store?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So once you start these balls rolling, I think from my perspective, it was like, hey, listen, I'm a very important person. I'm the MILF, okay? You're going to have to draw some boundaries. And here are mine. Because I'm not going to jeopardize my life, my livelihood, my finances, my stature of which I built in this community over a game that I don't do this.
And we're going to end it right there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Let's Do It Again.
Let's do it again. Real soon.
Mo Gently Talks.
Hashtag.
Put it right there. Thanks for tuning in to The Clean Theory. If you guys want to hear of any other topics, you want us to tackle anything, leave a comment down below. We'll get back to you.
Yes.
This has been great.
This has been eye-opening.
This has been a sort of a emotional upheaval, definitely for me. We talk about it amongst ourselves, but to know that we might reach, a couple people out there, it's a big deal. And we want to help y'all because, as we said earlier, it's definitely difficult at times, and you might not have a reference. You might not have any another perspective. You might feel down and overwhelmed
and alone.
Exactly.
But,
and you are not.
It's only happening to me.
You are not. You're in really good company,
especially with us here at the Clean Theory.
So we'll see y'all next time.
hashtag Mo Gently Talks. It's the clean theory, clean spirit homes and lives when you feeling weary. The space is safe to purge and re-emerge. We hope you feel the urge on the verge to stay driven while looking at the lives of 3 dope black women. No topics forbidden, raw, bearing our souls. We got love for everybody, even some for you trolls. Talking life, lost love, how to get to the bag. The clean theory, Mo Gently Talks. It's the hashtag.